is Frances Fox, and I am a trained remote viewer. All my psychic abilities have been trained, developed, and they are the reason why I chose a very difficult incarnation in order to acquire skills that I could then turn around and use for my intention in this incarnation, my mission, which is to bring extra information to the table for it to be easier for you to make decisions. Excuse me while I put on my protective labradorite necklace, which I took off in order to change my shirt 10 times to make sure I looked okay for you guys. I want to review again the issue of AI. I mentioned it yesterday. I was not able to show you what I had sketched of this group on the 4th of June, which is this. Third eye opened, and then an eye at the end of each one of these mind streams. This video, I think it's at minute 40, you can see my reaction to when I sketched it, where I said, I'm not quite sure what this is. This is a spaceship which is attacking us. I had never sketched something like this before. And then I continued forward because I'm always afraid that if I don't give you a lot of new information, you're going to get bored and you're going to click off. So I rushed through it until I saw this, and that's when I went back to it, which is what we're going to discuss right now. Here we have at the bottom what I sketched, the collective mind map of this group on the 4th of June. And above it is a graphic that Mario Neufal, who does news on X, he's very good, very respectable. This is a graphic that he put out talking on the 10th, which is when Apple said that they were going to be integrating AI with the cell phones and computers. That's what I understood. For some reason, when I saw the graphic at the top, I went into shock. And some of you can say that I went into shock because they copied my graphic. Do we know that they copied my graphic? Let me see. Okay. Am I able to move this? No, give me a second and maybe we can get this figured out. Supposedly we can move this. Nope. No. Okay, so I'm going to take it off screen. And I found that graphic about what Apple is doing very frightening. But I sketched that on the 4th. And my reaction has been shock. And I am not suing anybody. And I don't go after people for money. That's not the point. So hear that. If I was a poor artist and lived off of my art and I saw this that was on Mario's site, I would say, oh, they used my graphic. How many people are going to be able to say that having to do with AI, and where does that leave us? First place, where did they get that graphic of mine? And there's not a person I haven't asked that hasn't said, well, that obviously came from your graphic. Did that come from my graphic, or was it a download on the whole planet? I have no idea. My point, and I'm going to make that point twice, and I'm going to show you another graphic I did, which is the same point. Lawsuits has unfortunately controlled it. This country does not believe in karma. And this country believes in people paying a consequence for what they do, which is not right because karma exists. And a lot of times bad things happen in order to position people well. The person who's victimized ends up being well positioned. And many people say, no, I got sick, but you know what? After that, I decided I needed to change my life. Or I had a car accident, and after that, everything changed, and actually it was good. My husband left me, and I had to move to another city, but it ended up being good. In other words, there's an expression in Spanish that there's nothing bad that happens. It doesn't also come with something good. So when you live from lawsuit to lawsuit, or you're protecting yourself from lawsuits like Elon and Trump and a lot of other people, um, it's a waste of time, because that's just not flowing with what is going on in terms of human evolution, human development. It's not a question of being nice to people who behave poorly. That's not the point at all. The point is that the lawsuits really don't create anything good. It creates a society looking and saying, how many times did I have to say, I'm not going to be suing these guys because I think that you guys are going to think, oh, that she's setting it up for a lawsuit. I'm not setting up a lawsuit. I want to know how they got that graphic, because I want to know about AI, because AI is a Ouija board. It's a portal. It opens up to other dimensions, particularly to a particular planet that now has a conduit that they can use to come into planet Earth. Can you imagine how many graphics come from AI right now? My head is going. So somebody's working on my head. And we are used to it. But I just wanted to say it because my mind is like slipping. So I need to grab and come back. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? My graphic came first. It was on the 4th. And then this was on the 10th. So let's say the person who worked with AI worked on the 9th. I still want to know where this came from. AI came up with that themselves? That's scarier. The whole thing is scary, but not because somebody took something of mine. On the contrary, I want my stuff really out there. There is a feeling of a lack of control, a lack of boundaries, an extreme lack of boundaries. And I'm kind of used to that because I'm a psychic. And so we don't have those boundaries that a lot of you have, because we can see beyond what you think is a boundary, which is really a dimension. We can see more. So I'm not that hung up on, and I've always had issues with boundaries, like a lack of. So I'm not scared by a lack of boundaries. That graphic scared me. And I'm sure there's some ultimate conclusions that I haven't even been able to reach because it scares me. Okay, so if I was a regular artist that was starving, would I have a right to sue? How far would that go? Where did AI get that from? Did the artist hand them my thing? By the way, my sketch was only in the chat. In other words, it was up on camera for 2 minutes and then it was gone. It is in the chats. If you go back and listen to it, it's possible somebody looked at my chat, saw that, and used it. I don't know. I'd like to know. I'm curious, because things are so out of control, and so the possibilities are limitless. That's a bit of a problem, having to do with something that is also not so right. Ownership. This is mine, not yours. If it's great, everybody should make it available to everybody, which is what Elon does. But this is not that. This is something else. This doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel right. Let's go to the second example. On the 3rd of June, I'm not sure that Fauci did not testify on the 2nd. It may have been the 3rd. I should have put a time on this. I did this on the 3rd of June. It's up on all my social media. It went up on the 4th, I think, or the 5th. And it shows a map of the United States. The big X means that we have a big curse. The energy of this country is lack of will to live, and shame makes total sense. But then, and there's a spaceship, a dotted line, which is a spaceship. And I believe that the bad spaceships are going to come into places that are weak. The United States is weak. Shame is the thing that makes humans the weakest. But the important thing is, upper right-hand corner, you have the east coast of the United States, which is where most of the big companies have their major offices. That's the business part of the United States. Okay, so what's the problem? I said this on the 3rd of June. Yesterday, it turns out that the Daily Mail and on Mario's site also, it says that there are now 10,000 lawsuits having to do with the damaging effect of the vaccines. And there will be thousands more because of Fauci's testimony. It's obvious that everybody was lying through their teeth. And there we go with the lawsuits again. This country cannot take it. Cannot. We're going to destroy each other. And the rage on the East Coast, because it was rage, and that red fire is fear of lawsuits. And I didn't understand it until I realized, oh, they all know about the Fauci testimonies, and they know that the door has been opened. We are really in a new era. We are not headed towards anything great. I can see why Elon is trying to get us off of this planet as quickly as possible. He wants to get you guys and me, I would include myself in it. He doesn't know me. He wants to get us off in a spaceship. Where was he going to go? To Mars? I think to Mars, which is where supposedly he's from. Who knows? I'm not saying that he's from there at all. I would like for him to be from the Pleiades and to be dolphin consciousness. Who knows? So he wants to get us out of here. I want to get us out of here through the ascension process. The main point is that here that we're at, we're not going to be able to be here much longer. But I'm not sure that we can walk quietly out the front door or the back door. I think it's going to be with a big bang. But I would say that maybe we need to pay more attention to my sketches. Maybe I need to pay more attention to my sketches, because this sketch also includes a spaceship that's attacking us that day, which was June 4th. Now, I've drawn spaceships on the collective mind maps, but never one that was attacking. And yet on this one was attacking. And we had all the eyes up there. What does it all mean? We're not in a good place. So those are the two pieces of news. AI, where's it getting its content from? Well, obviously got something from me, even though I say obviously. Maybe you look at that and go, oh no, it probably is not a copy. And yet everybody that I've shown it to has gone, oh my God, they copied your thing. And then the whole thing with the lawsuits. We're in a weird place. Revelations is letting us know all about the plague. By the way, supposedly, the plague was sent to planet Earth from other planets to take down humans. Does that mean that this modern plague? We don't know, but I think we're going to find out. We're going to find out a lot of stuff. But I have to say that lawsuits is not the way to go. What this country needs to do is do a mantra having to do with shame and depression. Lack of will to live and shame. Shame is the lowest vibration, lower than hatred. And then there needs to be some kind of can there be a negotiated settlement having to do with the reaction to these revelations? I don't think so. So how is this going to work? It's not going to work. Which is why you need to spend more time here doing mantras so that you can ascend up here and then support Elon, so that if we don't ascend fast enough, get us off on one of his new Tesla space cars. I just said that. He didn't say that. But my God, it's pretty obvious that that's where he should go. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of ourselves. First, I am doing the cutting of the implants in the different chakras. We discovered that the movie Matrix is accurate, and it turns out that that information about humans having implants is all over science fiction. And then it's turning out that all of the science fiction stuff is really telling us about what's happening today. So anyway, I learned how to cut them, and I have a web page on my website in English and Spanish where it gives you instructions. And if they're not clear, it's only because we're trying to clear as quickly as possible to kind of understand and make it efficient. But basically, those implants are like the umbilical cord that attaches us to our mother. Exactly the same thing, except we're attached to a planet. And I think we can be attached to people, which is really distressing. So it's just like that. The umbilical cord, they clamp it in two places, which is what you do with the implants. If you have one like in the back of your liver, then you cut it you visualize a scepter held by Ptah, Ptah, which was the god of all gods, with the statue and the figure that is on the Academy Awards, the award. That god is Ptah. So you cut it and then you tie up both ends, the same as the umbilical cord. But anyway, the trick of the matter is that each of the energy centers reacts differently when I cut. The heart chakra doesn't appear to have a tremendous amount of implants, those tube implants, which are like hoses. The root chakra has a lot. The second chakra, sacral sexual, I had to fight tooth and nail to get those cut. It was like an energy that moved, obviously, spirits of whatever shape or form. But the curious thing is that there was a couple of my followers that had it done for their pets. In other words, you pay, it's $10. You pay and you sit there for 20 minutes while I do the cutting online. And you're doing the mantra to facilitate what I'm doing for you. But they did it for their pets and they said it made a huge difference. So do our pets also have implants? I'm afraid. I think that they must. So who are we? We have tubes that are implanted, and then we have these thin plates that are silver, like a record, like when we used to have vinyl records, except they're metallic. And so your energy is supposed to go from the bottom to the top. So they insert it at a certain level in the chakra, and then your energy can't continue up because you just cut it off. We have a lot of those and other types of implants. Who knows what we would be if we could actually be who we are? And God, hello, this whole free will thing. And then we got all this stuff going, and there doesn't seem to be a hint. I guess the movie Matrix was the hint. Did God have that happen? I have no idea. It's like really, it's complicated and it's unfair. But fairness was never part of the process on planet Earth. And yet unfairness makes human beings sick very, very quickly. So we're going to continue to go and work on the third eye, being it that this seems to be saying something important. And the whole thing with Apple and AI and Apple together seem to be, look at all those eyes. So let's go ahead and continue with the mantra to do with the third eye. And the mantra is, give me a moment. And I don't know what, but something has relaxed me a lot in the sense of, okay, so I'm not ready. It's okay. Nobody's going to die. I'm not perfect. I'm doing the best that I can, especially since I actually am in a state of shock since I saw that my computer has gone completely dark. How did it do that? Oh, somebody's doing black magic on me. Of course. Of course. Hmm. To escape, nothing. So let's go ahead and, okay. Okay, I'm back. We don't really know what happened, but we do know that every time I get up on the internet, my enemies do black magic to try to get me off. And so apparently what they just did now was very powerful. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and do the mantra for the third eye about being a master. So now, give me a second while we try to make the rest of, no, nothing wants to work. Let's see if this works. No, my keyboard doesn't work now. Okay, now it does. Even though I'm afraid to be a master, I love and accept myself. And you can go ahead and start to repeat these words in silence. And I will put the music therapy on. My goodness. Let's do 15 minutes. Sorry, I don't know how to turn that off more gracefully. Okay, so this is what you look like. This is the collective map of what we all look like when you got here. Not good. In other words, we're all very depressed. These are our mind streams that should be reaching out. They're not. We're not reaching for the fullness of life because we're just plain scared and depressed. This is what we look like. Now, being it that it appears that we can trust my maps, it makes the shift in all of you so it's kind of great news that we can do this so quickly. This is how you came in, and this is, and I did this like within 10 minutes, and this is minute 15. These are friendly spaceships. Your mind streams are long the way they're supposed to be. You have the 3 pyramids of protection. Your third eye is now all the way around. It has not been there before. It hasn't looked like that before. I could just see the front of it. Now, your feet are red. Now, remember all that red that used to be down here? We have lifted ourselves up from that, but we're still getting entangled in the fire element, the excess fire element, which is frustration, etc. So this is really good news at how quickly we can change. And remember that these strings are what create a reality. So if we can go from here, in which we cannot create a good reality, to here so quickly, then all is not lost. What is lost is, or not found yet, is how to do that. Well, we're doing it here, and as you can see, we have a tremendous amount of large number of followers. What can I tell you? We're obviously sat on, controlled, tied up, the whole 9 yards, because somebody doesn't want you to have this information. So I'm going to talk about catastrophes for just a minute. In Florida now, we are having massive rains. It says there's, I just looked at X, and it says South Florida battling life-threatening floods. Well, right near my life-threatening is that I cannot take my dog out. I can't walk my dog, so it's a little bit of a problem. Actually, a huge problem, unless you think about other people having to deal with their life being threatened. So why catastrophes? Every element has consciousness, and natural catastrophes are a decision made by the consciousness of whatever element it is that's creating the catastrophe. They decided that it was necessary to clear stuff. Our lens on life is very small, and it comes from a small place of us individual. This is my life, this incarnation. I live in Miami, da, 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 da. Catastrophes are not limited like that. They see all of history. And if they see something that's going to mess up humans, but their lens is very wide, they will try to help by balancing the elements. So what does that have to do with today? Well, there are Russian ships, supposedly with nuclear weapons. We don't really know that. In Cuba, there's one, and they're facing off with American ships, warships in the ocean, the waters between here and Cuba. Well, you can imagine the politicos, the Cuban politicos in Miami are having like a little field day. Oh my God, now we can go and bomb Cuba and get the Russians out of there and go back to Cuba and the whole 9 yards. The water purifies. When it is raining like this, it's really hard to get up the energy to do something aggressive because water puts out fire. So the water is keeping an energy lower, in a lowered state, that is going to help to, big picture, keep us all safer. Hotheads will have a hard time staying hotheads because the water puts out fire. So one of the times that I realized that this country is in really big trouble is when they started to have problems with their national monuments. And they were having problems with like the top, which has to do with faith. I think people have lost faith. But when we see how quickly we can go from this to this in 10 minutes, because I did this after I stopped speaking, and then I did this 10 and a half minutes later. If we can do this, then we can do this. But you got to do something. So spread the word that the mind, remind people that the mind creates reality, and that when you change your mind, you can change your reality. We are not living a good reality, but that can change. And it doesn't really even require that many people. Supposedly, it requires 144,000. I think that number was in the Bible. I'm not sure. And that's how many people that you would need to be able to create a wave to really create change. That's not that many people, especially with social media. The problem is that the people that would give you that information that could help do that, we're all controlled, threatened, kept in little cages so that you don't get that information, and you end up taking the long route to where it is you want to go. And I think that even that route is in danger. So whatever help you can do to help get this information out there, I think you should do. And again, I wouldn't be speaking this confidently if I myself am not shocked by the fact that I sketched something and that it's so accurate that there's nobody that can say, well, there's no connection between what you sketched and whatever. I said that the East Coast got even more hot with the element of fire due to corporations being afraid of a lot of lawsuits. And then 4 days later, turns out that there are 10,000. I don't know if that there are new lawsuits, but I can guarantee you there's going to be hundreds of thousands of lawsuits due to the exposing of what appears to be a lot of disinformation having to do with the plague. Then I'm going to remind you again, from what I'm seeing, the stuff that works with the current version of the plague has to do with spirits, with controlling spirits. The sulfur that's in the remedies that control parasites are spirits. So, but you don't really believe in spirits. Why not? You're Catholic, you're Christian. Why not? Your religion does. You're Jewish. They even have names for them that are used very frequently in the sermons. You like Chinese medicine, you like Ayurveda. They believe in spirits and they know that it's part of your process of becoming ill, but you don't. Oh, okay. Compartmentalization. More than 3 syllables when I'm tired is hard. You're compartmentalizing. And it's not good for you. You need to take up all those compartments and just blow it all open, because it's going to blow up in your face anyway. So all of this, that this society in this part of the world has blocked and blocked and blocked and blocked, is now here to haunt us. So widen the lens and maybe do a mantra on being more. Let me see what the mantra would be. Jehovah Witness. She was raised as a Jehovah Witness. It says you only need 144,000 people. Please, God, help me with my intention to accept the reality of spirits. But even in religions where they talk about it a lot, I mean, Jesus Christ, everybody knows you cast out spirits the first thing when somebody was ill. What's the matter, guys? What is the matter? See you